You can open a bank account easy with the 3 activities, and yet they've done 3 separate structures, all with an individual visa on each, and they've even given his wife a visa on one, which makes no sense because she can have a dependent visa. So when I sat with them, I tried to go through it with them and ask why they did. There must be a specific reason, and there just wasn't. It was just money grabbing. They've basically persuaded him to do the 3 setups so that they get the renewal fees, and then just left him at that, when it could have been one company set up with one visa. What happens, the consultancy he went through is one of those companies that has that in the contracts. He hasn't read a single one of them. So when I went through them, through the contracts with them yesterday, it has the clause in every single one. So he's stuck with them. If he wants to liquidate the company, he has to do it through them. If he wants to remove a visa, he has to do it through them. Everything he has to do through them. So although I can advise him on what he should do moving forward, I can't actually assist with the process. He's locked in. Like I say, that clause says unless he has to deregister with them as well. So he has to liquidate with them, then set up a new company through us or somebody else in order to actually have control of who he can use PRO services with. So you'll get expats or international companies who want to set up an entity over here. They will go to a consultancy. There's 2 in particular that do this all the time. They'll go there, they will obviously like the setup, they'll like the price, they'll be handed a contract, told they have to sign it on the spot, and they'll just do it. They don't read the clauses, and one of them in particular locks you in with that company, and you cannot use anybody else for any PRO services, governmental services, or renewals and deregistrations. So the point is, you have to read it. I don't understand how people don't read it. It's a contract, you have to sign it, it's legally binding. Please read every contract and keep copies of it, because otherwise it's gonna mess you around in the end. Activities. We had a client come to us who had about 12 activities on one license that were completely irrelevant. 2 of them are in a high risk category as well, commercial brokers and management consultancies. So when it comes to setting up a bank account, it is gonna be super hard or impossible to do. He tried and he failed. So we had to then remove the activities that he was advised to put on there, and then start again with just the 1 or 2. We see it all the time, people don't read activity descriptions. So just because the title sounds right doesn't mean it actually is. You have to read the descriptions. Descriptions vary from free zone to free zone in mainland jurisdictions as well. People don't read it. I have no idea why. This is your company, this is what you're operating under, and they just go with the flow. People are too quick to sign up and get the license, rather than actually take their time, go through the activities and make sure everything is perfect. Just because you can have several activities on a license doesn't mean you should. The whole point in having a license is so you can open a bank account most of the time. People get too greedy, so 3 activities is usually what you get with free zone companies for free. Right, they'll let you blend them. People get too greedy because they want too much. Like, for example, general trading. When you get a general trading license, obviously you can trade everything that doesn't have an additional approval. Banks hate this because it's easy to money launder, with that being clear.
I do not know anything about any money laundering.
Management consultancies is similar because it's such a broad activity. It's got more compliance checks. When you go to set up, they specifically ask if you have an activity of management consultancies, general trading, or real estate. These ones, like I say, they absolutely hate. So when you blend these with other activities, then they are not going to trust you. They are not going to open your account. It doesn't make any sense. If you need to have that, it needs to be a standalone activity. So people don't think about that. You see it all the time, that people don't look forward. They just want as much as they can get on that license. The whole point in having a business is to open a bank account, unless it's a holding company, and even so, you can only have that one activity for that. So when you choose your activities, you need to make sure, 1, that they're relevant, 2, that you will be able to open a bank account with those, because otherwise you're going to have to go back and amend it anyway. A lot of consultancies don't tell you that either, and that's because they just want you in to pay and then leave. Simple as that. They don't care about the aftercare of your company. They don't really care about the bank account opening, because they want you to come back to them with a problem so then they can fix it for you. When people want something really cheap, obviously they're literally only looking at price. They're not looking at anything in the future. So rather than getting a 1 visa quota license, they'll get a 0 visa quota license because they want it cheap and cheerful, and they don't see the point in having a visa. They're not going to live here full time. You will not be able to open a bank account without a visa. So it literally makes no sense to do that. You're cutting your costs to start off with, but then you have to pay for an amendment fee, then you have to pay for an establishment card fee, a license upgrade, a visa cost, a medical, an Emirates ID. So you're actually costing yourself more money by trying to be too cheap. People go for cheap and cheerful. When it is very cheap, it's usually rubbish, So you need to look around 100%. If it's too expensive, you're probably being ripped off. If it's too cheap, it's probably going to be rubbish. So realistically, you're looking for somewhere in the middle. People or consultants should provide you receipts if you request that. So if something sounds too expensive, then you say, will you provide me receipts at the end of the process? If they're not hiding anything, then they will. If something is too cheap and you think it's too good to be true, then they've probably left a lot of stuff out. So your company is not going to be set up properly. And you're going to have a lot of add-ons once you get that license. We had somebody once who, they gave us enough time for the license. They came for their visa process and they said, I can only stay in Dubai for 3 days for my visa and then I have to leave. Which is insane. We hadn't got them an entry permit yet. They literally came in, expected their e-visa, their change status, their medical test, their visa process, their biometrics in 3 days.
Oh my God!
It's literally impossible. With my experience, clients always wait till the last minute to set up the company. Literally, maybe they'll say they need it done in like a week, for example. So you can either do it last minute, rush everything, your bank account won't be open in time, or you can prepare with loads of time beforehand, have your license set up, have your contracts ready to be signed. But nobody ever does that. It's like they want to be stressed out through the license process because they're on a time limit. Your license, depending on the jurisdiction, will take anywhere from 1 week to 4 weeks. If there's an approval, it could take even longer. They don't factor that in. They just want it now. There is only so much a consultant or a PRO can do. We can't change the law. If we could, we would, but we can't. So you have to be realistic with your timelines, otherwise you're going to lose out in the end. Part of the process, once you've done the license, you've done your establishment card, you're ready to add your visa quota, is you need to have an office inspection. The Ministry of Labour will come, they will look at the office. If you're requesting a large amount of visa quota, they'll probably want to look at your contracts too, just to make sure that you actually need those visas, you're not just giving them away. When they will come to your office, they will obviously, 1, check the office is in the right location. 2, they want to see the company name outside on a plaque. If you're requesting a large amount of quota, then they want to see your contracts so that you can justify that request. They might not grant it. I mean, they might. They probably won't. But if they do, then obviously, like I say, you need to already have proof that you need that many people to work for you. They'll also look at the people currently in the office working for you. You need to have a minimum of 1 person there. So if let's say you've got 3 employees there, they want to see those employees' visas to make sure that they're on the correct visa, which is your company, and that they have their work permit already. If not, it's not compliant and they will fine you. Certain activities require a physical office space. You will get regular inspections on the actual office space to ensure someone is there working all the time. So for example, tourism department went through a phase of checking everyone with vacation homes, rental activities, and everybody had like virtual ajaris, like fake ajaris, no one working in the office, and they all got fines for it. Everybody did. They've stopped that now. It doesn't mean you should do it, but they go through phases, different departments of doing these inspections. So you need to make sure, obviously, that the office is correct to avoid any fines.
Fill her up, please.
Bank account opening in the UAE is a nightmare. A corporate account opening is not easy. If someone says it is, then they're lying.
Liar! Liar!
I have never had an easy process. Obviously, we've got them done, but it's communication with the bank representative, from my experience, is never good in any bank. Number 2, the compliance checks that they do go on for ages, which is obviously good and they have their reasons for it, but at the same time, It's stressful for the client because even if they have one activity, they have a physical office space, they check all of the boxes, it's still going to be 2 months in my experience. Again, maybe someone else can do it slightly faster, but on average about 2 months. That's with local banks like Emirates NBD, HSBC and things like this. WeO Bank, the online one, will open it quicker, but it's probably not going to be a long-term solution for most companies because it's only got 4 currencies that you can use. Also, I find that, actually 2 days ago I saw that a Spanish company who's come over to set up, we're already looking at their documents. Spanish documents are so different to the documents over here, corporate documents that is. So over here we have your trade license, you have your MOA and a board resolution. It's one document that has everything in it. And it's the first time I saw one of those, so I was confused. We showed them to the bank and they said it won't be accepted, but these are the only documents that they have. So it has to be accepted. These are their corporate documents that we need to get attested. But again, it's back and forth with the bank. There's people with different nationalities, obviously, different backgrounds in business. So when you're going through these documents that they've probably never seen before either, they're just as confused as you. So it will take a bit of time to get it done. You will get it done most of the time. You might have to change a few things, but inshallah, it will be done. Mistakes people make would be not doing their attestations early enough. So people, when they come over and they want to make a branch or a subsidiary, for example, they need to have certificate of incorporation, MOA, board resolution, share certificate, all attested. So that's fully attested in the country of origin, then attested in the UAE, then translated into Arabic, then potentially verified by the Ministry of Justice. Now, when you use these documents for your setup and your bank, the bank will actually need additional documents, so they'll probably need like a certificate of incumbency as well. People, because they leave it to the last minute, they will only get those 3 documents that I first mentioned attested. They will not get the other requirements from the bank. Like I say, they will not get the certificate of incumbency. They might also miss their audited financial reports, which also might need to be attested. So there's things that, because they leave it till the last minute and they made that mistake of not preparing, it will take them a lot longer to open the bank account. In the law, it actually states that your employer should provide you with health insurance. Now, this could be the most basic package ever, but they still need to give it to you. Healthcare is not free in the UAE. Everybody needs to have a policy in case something happens, so they can be sent to hospital. Your employer should provide that. If they try and make you do it, say no. It's not your responsibility. I mean, if you want to get a higher package, then obviously it is. But they need to provide you with at least a basic one. It's in the law. If you work for a mainland company or DMCC or JABSA, then you also should be paid through WPS, which is the wage protection system. This was brought in because years ago people were not paying their employees the right amount on the right day. They were just doing what they want, really. So this has been brought in to streamline that process to ensure that you get your salary, the right amount, on the right day every month. Also, if they don't pay you the right amount on the right day every month, then their system will be blocked. So they have to do that. Some companies don't know about this. Your consultant, when you set up your license, should tell you, but sometimes they don't. I don't know why. Maybe they don't know how to implement it for your company. But realistically, if they've done your license and they've done your visa, then they should also help you with your WPS because it's mandatory to do. If not, 6 months down the line, they give you a 3-month grace period. Then you have 3 months that you have to start paying your employees properly. If you don't, then obviously they block you. If they block you, then you have to unblock yourself by paying all of those salaries back to your employees through WPS. It's a lot of money that you spend. It's a lot of back and forth. Just set it up at the beginning. If you have any stories of problems you faced, mistakes you made, anything along those lines when you did your company setup or a governmental service in the UAE, please put it in the comments so other people can see it. Sharing's caring, hope everybody learn. We see all the time that people don't have accountants from day one. Now that's fine if you have small transactions, you're trying to do it yourself. However, in the long run, it's going to have a negative impact because new rules have been put in place now where most free zones want your yearly accounts for your renewals. They want to check that you're doing them, you're keeping on top of it. It's better to just set everything up perfectly from the start, then get halfway through the year and then have to have an accountant go back through and do your accounts from day one. So don't try and overload yourself. Get an accountant, it will help. I mean, I don't have any, but again, it's on the advice you're given. If people don't understand that you can't just leave your company here dormant, you will accumulate fines over the years, whether it be mainland, free zone, that will be a fine on your licence, a fine on your establishment card. You could potentially be stopped by immigration on the way, and it depends how much you owe, if I'm being honest. You need to liquidate your company if you're not going to use it. You can't just leave it there dormant because it will affect you in the long run. Liquidations are different in each jurisdiction, so obviously that will depend on where it is, but it doesn't matter. You still have to do it. You definitely have to do it. The process will just vary.